Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Giridharadhari Gopi Jana Ballabha Giridharadhari Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachali Yamuna Tira Vanachali Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Ballabha Giridharadhari Yashoda Nandana Praja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Guru Prabhupada ki jai. Sorry. What happens here? I'm just afraid that if the picture's not there, then it's maybe the sound won't be there either. Here it is. So we're reading today from the Srimad-bhagavatam, 8th Canto, 5th chapter, text number 32. Chapter is called The Demigods Appeal to the Lord for Protection. Pado mahiyang swakritaiva yasha Chaturvido yatra hi bhuta sargaha Savai Mahapurusha Atmatantraha Prasidatang Brahma Maha Vibhuti Pado Mahiyang Swakritaiva Yasha Chaturvido Yatra Hi Bhuta Sargaha Savai Mahapurusha Atma Tantra Prasidatang Brahma Mahavibhuti Pado Mahiyang Swakritaiva Yasha Chaturvido Yatra Hi Bhuta Sargaha Savai Mahapurusha Atmatantra Prasidatang Brahma Mahavibhuti Pado Mahiyang Swakritaiva Yasha Chaturvido Yatra Hi Bhuta Sargaha Savai Mahapurusha Atmatantra Prasidatang Brahma Mahavibhuti Pado Mahiyang Swakritaiva Yasha Chaturvido Yatra Hi Bhuta Sargaha Savai Mahapurusha Atmatantra Prasidatang Brahma Mahavibhuti Word for word synonyms. Pado, his lotus feet. Mahi, the earth. Iyam, this. Swakrita, created by himself. Eva, indeed. Yasha, of whom? Chaturvida, of four kinds of living entities. Yatra, wherein. He, indeed. Bhuta Sargaha, material creation. Saha, he, by, indeed, Mahaparusha, the Supreme Person, Atmatantra, self-sufficient, Prasidatam, may he be merciful to us. Sorry, yeah. And, okay, I'll just have to read it from here. The new change here, and I haven't figured it out. May he be merciful to us. Brahma, the greatest, Mahavibhuti, with unlimited potency. On this earth, there are 4 kinds of living entities who are all created by him. The material creation rests on his lotus feet. He is the great Supreme Person, full of opulence and power. May he be pleased with us. Repeat after me. On this earth, there are 4 kinds of living entities who are all created by him. The material creation rests on his lotus feet. He is the great Supreme Person, full of opulence and power. May he be pleased with us. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The word Mahi refers to the 5 material elements: earth, water, air, fire, sky, which rest upon the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mahapadan Punya Yasho Murare. The Mahatattva, the total material energy, rests on his lotus feet. For the cosmic manifestation is but another opulence of the Lord. In this cosmic manifestation, there are four kinds of living entities. Jarayu, Ja, those born from embryos. Anda, Ja, those born from eggs. Sweta, Ja, those born from perspiration. And Ud, Bij, Ja, those born from seeds. Everything is generated from the Lord as confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra, Janmajashayata. No one is independent, but the Supreme Soul is completely independent. Janmajashayaton Vayani Tartashtatesh Vigyat Swarat. The word Swarat means independent. We are dependent, whereas the Supreme Lord is completely independent. Therefore, the Supreme Lord is the greatest of all. Even Lord Brahma, who created the cosmic manifestation, is but another opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The material creation is activated by the Lord, and therefore the Lord is not a part of the material creation. The material creation is activated by the Lord, and therefore the Lord is not a part of the material creation. He's transcendental to it. The Lord exists in his original spiritual position. The universal form of the Lord Vairaja Murti is another feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, universal form. Shabbat doesn't describe, in this purport at least, universal form, but there is a universal form. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, I believe, it's called the universal form. And it's basically a manifestation of so the whole cosmic manifestation all in one place where you can see it. You can see everything happening at once. We can't see this, but Arjuna wanted to see this form, this universal form, and he actually wasn't interested personally in seeing it, but because Krishna is claiming to be God, which he accepted, but for the benefit of us who come in the future after that pastime of the Lord on the battle of Kurukshetra, for our benefit, and if someone comes to us and says, I'm God, look at me, I've got, and maybe even he has a mystic powers. There's probably some still around somewhere who have these abilities. And then there's things that ordinary people can't do, and he claims to be God. But Arjuna wanted Krishna to show this universal form. And yes, universal form, 10, 11. I'll just read some lines here. Krishna says, and Arjuna has to see the universal form. So Krishna is saying, O best of the Bharatas, that's Arjuna, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashvini Kumars, and all the other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard of before. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine, referring to the universal form. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything, moving and non-moving, is here completely in one place. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore, I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. So we can't see this universal form unless Krishna gives us the ability to see it. These eyes cannot see it. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He bore celestial garlands and garments and many divine scents. So that's scents too. You can smell. Were smeared all over his body. All are wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, and all expanding. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once in the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. You can imagine how bright this was. Hundreds of thousands of suns. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universes situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. So there's thousands of universes created at one time, and he's seeing everything right before him, all in one place. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances, and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes expanded everywhere, without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning." Anyway, it goes on. The whole chapter is like this. So this is a description of the Lord's universal form that's being referred to here. The universal form of the Lord, Maharaja Murti, is another feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we were mentioning some people claim to be God. So if someone claims to be God, and if they're actually seriously claiming to be God, you can always ask them to show you their universal form. If you're God, you can certainly show this. They say, "Well, I can show you, but you can't see it." Well, Krishna, who is God, gave the special vision for Arjuna to see this universal form. So if you say you're God, then show this to me. It's like that. Anyway, they won't be able to do that unless, of course, it is actually God. But that is not likely that someone will come here and claim I'm God, and it's actually Krishna directly. And then sometimes people have, I can't say how many people have it because it's not common. It's very difficult now, but there's in the process of yoga, the yogi may automatically get in the practice of yoga some mystic siddhis, as they're called, or perfections. And these are just material powers that you can get through austerities, and there's a process, which Srila didn't go into that for us. I don't think any of us could follow the process anyway. And it certainly didn't encourage us to get distracted and become able to do so many wonderful things that amaze people. He gave us the ability to become Krishna conscious and get out of this material entanglement. And these mystical powers are not very. They're material things. They're material abilities. Just like Srila Prabhupada points out, actually he refers in one of his purports to a scientist or someone, but who was actually a devotee of Krishna, who had something. He was intelligent in the good sense. So he pointed out that this person had pointed out that that all these mystic siddhis that are described in the Vedas, all these mystic siddhis, practically you can do the same thing by other means. One of the not all of them, but you can make yourself lighter than air, so you actually can fly. But through airplanes and hot air balloons and different things, you can do that. You can one is you become or the same one, if you become so light that you can walk on water. But if you want to go across the water, just use a boat. You don't have to. And then and Srila tells a story about somebody who he was very, he knew of these mystic powers. This must have been probably in India a long time ago. He knew of these mystic powers, and he really wanted to learn how to walk on water. Just so to show off. It's just a show off. And so he went off somewhere or found some yogi who had these abilities. He practiced for many, many years, and finally got to the point he could actually he made himself very light at his will, and he could walk on water. And then he came back and to show off to his friends. I can walk on water. So one of his friends said, you just spent your whole lifetime practicing and learning how you can walk on water, but for 25 cents you could have just taken a boat to the other side. You wasted all your time like that. But these abilities are there if you have the knowledge and the ability to perform the method. Another mystic city is called Prapti, where you can, if you see someone who has it, they can just reach up in the air somewhere, and they can, but actually what they're actually doing is Prapti means like acquisition or acquiring something. So if you can, if you want to pick a fruit off of a tree, if you're in Florida and you want to pick a fruit off of a tree in South America, then through this process you can actually pick it, and you get it like that. If anyone who's watching you, it just sees it popping in your hand, but actually you're actually taking it from the tree. If you want to use it to steal some gold, some fancy jewelry somewhere too, you can take it. If you're dishonest, without actually going there. It's a mystic thing. So that's Prapti. There is Anima, or Anima city, where you can make yourself very small enough to enter into a stone. Think of a stone that doesn't have any holes. How you go into a stone? But if you look at a stone under a microscope, you probably see a lot of holes in it. So you can make yourself so small that you can enter into that. Or Shishi Gornichai, Shishi Radha, Vajrabihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Medisubhadra, Vidashigane, Paladvaraj. You can make yourself Mahima city, you can make yourself very big. So you may be whatever size we are here, but if you have that mystic ability, you can make yourself, it's huge, like it's bigger than this temple. It's a mystic ability. There's another one where you can control a person's mind, make them, convince them to do anything. It's a material ability. But if you have that, and if you're dishonest, then you'll do that, and you'll see how to take control of them and take advantage of them in some way. But it's a mystic ability. And there's another one which is called, I don't remember the Sanskrit. It's basically magic. You do things against what you normally could do in nature. It's all like this. So Srila Prabhupada actually mentions all these in the Nectar of Devotion. And the idea is, he mentions them, but he says, if someone has these abilities, they can try to derive a large amount of happiness, because they're, look what I can do. I can it's like super sense gratification. You can do so many things with that. You create anything you want to create if you have some of those abilities. But he said, but the happiness experience by one engaged in pure devotional service, on the pure devotional path of pure devotional service, that happiness that one can experience is so much greater than the happiness you can experience even by these mystic abilities, or to speak of the happiness that you experience by, you say, making one with the Supreme, merging in the Brahma Jyoti. That's also a sense of happiness. So pure devotional service can give you a great feel of real happiness, spiritual happiness, like that. That's how Srila described all these mystic powers. He said, but the power, the happiness from just engaging in devotional service is far, far greater than anything you can get from those mystic powers. But anyway, we're talking about if someone might convince others that he is actually God. We're talking about the universal form. So the way that someone might convince them of that is by manifesting some of these different kinds of mystic abilities. And if they're not smart, if they don't have this knowledge that we're reading about here, they can say, wow, if maybe he's God. And he said he's God, but actually he's not God. So, because in reality, we are all dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We're completely dependent on Him. Even those who practice the mystic yoga and get these abilities, they are completely dependent on the Supreme Lord to. First of all, these abilities are there. They're described, or the method to get those abilities are described in the Vedas. There's a section, and if you want to practice, you can. But those abilities, the knowledge of those abilities, those methods, come from Krishna, who is the source of all the Vedas. So even for that, we are dependent. Or to speak that we are dependent on Him to breathe. We think breathing is just part of life. But if all of a sudden someone can't breathe, there's no air, or there's no, they have some physical problem and they cannot breathe, then you realize, I'm in trouble now because I can't even breathe. If Krishna and we most places, well, at least in this country, generally, there's enough food to eat. Maybe it's mismanaged so that someone might not have enough, but there's enough food to eat. But we can't create food. You may be able to create nuts and bolts and those kind of things in the factories, but if God doesn't want to give you food, if He doesn't want to allow food to grow, or food to come to you in some certain way, then we're in a problem, because we cannot create. We can't. It's not like you can put a seed out there, if you put seeds in the ground. If you put seeds in the ground to grow something, sometimes they don't grow, right? We've tried so many times to grow things here, and sometimes things just don't grow like that. So we are completely dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead for everything. And as Srila Prabhupada also mentions here, in the cosmic manifestation, there are 4 kinds of living entities, referring to the 4 different ways of birth. So those born from embryos, that would include us. Those born from eggs, like so many birds and snakes too, I think. Fish. Anyway, there's a lot of living entities that are born from eggs. Those born from perspiration, that's the one that sounds like, how is that possible? But somehow or other, if there is perspiration, then it's creating a certain atmosphere, gives the ingredients needed, so that some soul who is destined to have a certain kind of body, like certain insects, for example, that soul goes there, and the body forms by the power of that soul. It's a fact. I gave the example before. The fruit flies. Mold could be. I can't say exactly which way the mold comes, but I do know because there's scientific experiments of this, which I don't know if they've come to the right conclusion, but you can have you can put some kind of, say, sterilized, well, in biology they had this thing called agar. It's used for growing molds and things. But you sterilize it. There's nothing living in it, you suppose. You put it into a closed container. If there's air in there, it's all sterilized air, and it's sealed off from outside. And so you think nothing can grow there, but actually something does grow there. And how does it grow there? Because the material elements are somehow there, and the soul who needs that kind of a body can go anywhere, because the soul, nothing can restrict the soul. The soul goes wherever there is wherever there's an opportunity or the facility or the materials needed for life, for a body. The soul can go there. The soul can live in a fiery atmosphere. The soul cannot be burnt. These bodies can't be in a fiery atmosphere. We'll get very hot. But the soul can go anywhere, and if some living entity is, just like one of our devotee scientists in our Bhaktivedanta Institute, it's our scientific branch in ISKCON. One time, one of them told me that he or someone else in their group was one time looking at a piece of red hot metal under a microscope. So he was looking at a piece of metal under a microscope, and the metal was very hot. It was like very, very hot. So he was looking at it, and he saw some kind of a creature. It wasn't just it was actually you could see the piece of metal had magnified under the microscope. That piece of metal had holes in it. A lot of things look smooth here, but they actually have holes in them when you see them up, very, very, very close. So it had holes in it, and he saw some. Clearly, he said it was clearly. I wasn't there. I didn't see it, but clearly there was some kind of a living entity with legs, and it was like a small insect. That small. What came out of one hole went to another hole, like that. He saw very clearly. It wasn't just. He said it was there. But anyway, why not? Because if you have a body which is suitable for that kind of atmosphere, high heat, then the soul will not be killed. The soul cannot be burnt by fire. Bhagavad Gita says, soul cannot be burnt by fire, withered by the wind, or moistened by water. Soul cannot be affected by any of these things. So, and on the sun, there's also life. We say scientists assume thinking of life like we have on Earth. They say it's not possible. There's no way. But it's a heavenly planet. It's a very high level heavenly planet. But the bodies of the people are basically fiery. Just like our bodies here are basically water and earth. So there, the main ingredient is fire. Fire has form also, even though we may not be able to see it. And the souls are there in those. And the souls are there for all the living entities there. So we can't see it. We wouldn't be able to get close enough to see it. Even if we were there, we wouldn't be able to see these things. But for the Vedas describe, the Bhagavad Gita was, Krishna says, in the beginning of creation. 4:1. The personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god, Vivaswan. This is on the sun. And Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. So Srila Prabhupada describes, more than 120 million years ago, Krishna spoke this, Bhagavad Gita, also, same knowledge, to the sun god. And so there is a sun god. There is a king. He's the king of the sun, and it is a heavenly planet. So Krishna was there, and there are living entities there. Same thing on the moon. There's some kind of, I'm not exactly, I guess, ethereal, because nobody can see, but it's also a heavenly planet. The moon's a very high heavenly planet. But of course, if anyone actually went there, they wouldn't be able to see. We don't have that vision. We're not actually allowed from this planet. It's actually practically it's a demoniac thing to want to just leave from Earth and go, try to force yourself into these other planets. And of course, it'll be very, very difficult for those who are trying to do this. And I'll just on the mystic power thing, something I just remembered, and I can mention. Srila Prabhupada actually mentioned having seen someone in his childhood who had one of those mystic abilities. He was performing. He would. They put him into a box, a regular-looking man. They put him into a box, and put that box, and put him into a bag. I don't know, there's several layers of that box, a bag. This was put into this, and this was put in that, and this is put in that. And you can see all around him, and they chain the whole thing up. And then a moment later, he's coming out from behind he's coming out from somewhere. And Srila Prabhupada said, how does he do that? Everyone could see him on all sides. He's in the box. And he's completely closed up, but immediately he's out. And how? Srila Prabhupada explains, because he had that mystic ability, anima siddhi, which means you can make yourself very small. So you make yourself very small, then I'm sure there are plenty of holes, you go through the threads the threads of the bag, and maybe a microscopic hole in the boxes. So he went out and then expanded himself again. He was doing it as a show, showing off. But these things exist. But we should not be too amazed by these things, and certainly never assume that someone's showing off like that, so thinking that they have, oh, he's actually God.
Well, we can see all these tricks in the circus.
Huh?
We can see all these tricks.
Yeah. And they probably don't have, in the circus, they probably don't have the mystic abilities that requires a lot. Huh?
They somehow try to imitate this, like you just described them. You put it first in the box and they try either to plug it or cut it, and the person comes out.
Right. So the same show is done many ways. In this particular case, Shobha was describing it as someone who actually had some mystic ability. Most of the time, it's just magic, different illusions like that.
But there are medical specialists, hypnologists. This is also some sort of a psyche, right? Hypnosis.
Hypnosis.
Hypnosis, yes.
Maybe a little bit,
Because it's accepted. It's accepted even by traditional medicine.
It could be counted as something. I'm not sure which one of the mystic abilities you would count that as.
Maybe persuasion, the power of persuasion.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, all these things are possible. So, but the point is that but the hypnotist, what's the word? One who does hypnosis, but you don't assume that this person is God.
Oh no, I don't know.
This
is just for entertainment, I think, for people.
Right. So, anyway, these were a few points here. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. We are completely dependent on Him. He's not dependent on anything. Any questions? Comments? Okay, so we'll end here.